All right, so a couple weeks back, I told you guys to submit pictures of your systems to the Micro Center Showcase page, and you guys did. I got a lot of submissions, and I told you guys that one of you would be selected as a winner by yours truly to win a $500 gift card to Micro Center's store, and that another winner would be chosen by Micro Center to also receive a $500 gift card. Well, that day is today. By submitting your build to the Micro Center Showcase, you're also eligible to be featured in the Micro Center Build of the Week. #MC Feature Friday. Micro Center selects a winner every week to be featured on their social medias and to receive a free Micro Center Community Showcase t-shirt. So we're gonna go through the top 10 builds that I've rounded up out of all your submissions. We're gonna look at each one, and then by the end of this video, I'm gonna pick my winner. Micro Center will pick a winner on their end, and they'll actually reach out to both winners, first and second place winners, right around the time this video goes live. But there's more. There's also an opportunity for you to win a third place prize. Any of you could be a third place winner if you submit pictures of your build to the showcase page within the next 2 weeks from the time that this video uploads. And then at that point, Micro Center will reach out to the third place winner for a $250 Micro Center gift card. So yeah, let's just get cracking, shall we? There's a lot of builds to cover. And oh, for the record, I should state this, disclaimer, a lot of these builds are using the Lian Li PCO11 Dynamic, the case, because it's a very popular case. It had no influence on my selection process or anything. I didn't prioritize O11Ds. Just want to let you guys know there's a lot of O11Ds. All right, shall we get this started? Oh, we got to crack open a Red Bull. It's not sponsored by Red Bull though. It is sponsored by Micro Center and AOC though. So thanks to them. Cheers.
So good and.
All right, let's go. First up, we got Narab's PC. Narab's PC. And I like the little descriptions that people put. That's fun. We'll read the descriptions and stuff. I built my PC originally for Destiny 2 and have since upgraded it for better 1440p higher refresh rate gaming. Currently, my primary games have been Genshin Impact, Genshin Impact, Destiny 2, and the New World closed beta. I hope that hasn't fried your graphics card yet. As amazing as the Noctua NHD15S is, I do want to replace it with a 360 AIO in order to truly vertically mount the GPU. Right now, the RTX 3070 is vertically mounted at an angle under the heatsink as it's the only way it would fit. Favorite feature. I love my EVGA RTX 3080 for the Win 3. I've custom painted the shroud in white with plastic dip and it looks amazing with the light bar set in all white. Okay, let's take a look at the specs really quick. Ryzen 7 5800X. We have an Asus X570 Pro Tough Gaming Wi-Fi motherboard, RTX 3070 for the Win 3 Ultra from EVGA, 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro DDR4 3200 speed, Corsair 5000D Airflow Tempered Glass Edition, and RM750 power supply, and NHD15S cooler, and a bunch of drives. Cool. All right, Narav. Let's see what you got here. What are we working with? Now that is interesting. I don't think I've really seen many builds with a 45-degree angled GPU install, but it kind of looks sweet. I'm digging it. It's a vibe. And there's a very nice like kind of white color coordinated theme that you have here. You did a really nice job on this paint. The plastic dip shroud looks really good, at least from where I'm sitting. So nice job on that. Let's see. All right, let's just try to point out the good stuff first, right? I've already named a few. I like the Lian Li streamer cables. I believe there's probably another one on your GPU. Oh no, wait, that's not a streamer cable. Is it? That's not a streamer cable. How am I not? Is it a streamer cable? That's just a regular cable. That is a regular cable. Kyle, you're blind. I think it's just because how the light's reflecting it. Obviously, light bounces a lot more off of white than it does darker colors, so I thought it was illuminated, but it's not. Still, very nice cable sleeving. I'm not sure if you did that yourself or not, but it looks very well put together. The cable combs are training the cables nice and straight. They look very compliant. Cable management itself is looking really good too. All the cables are going to the proper routing holes. I don't see any kind of like frayed cables anywhere. You do have some cable mess right above your 3 fans on the side here, but there's really not a whole lot you can do that as it's coming from your front IO. Overall, very nice there. You have tons of fans in the system, 3, 6, 9 fans. Okay, but I kind of wish they were RGB because you already have some RGB in here. Here's the thing, your RAM looks a little lonely being really the only RGB lit thing in the case apart from the lighting strip that you have at the front, or maybe at the bottom as well, all around the case. But I think other like core components should have some element of RGB, and you know, you've got this sort of awkwardly mounted GPU, which again, looks great. But because of how it's mounted, you're not really seeing any of the RGB on the front of the shroud where the power connectors are. And so you really only see the RGB coming out through the RAM. I would like to see some RGB in the fans as well. I'm sure the airflow is perfectly fine, functionally speaking, it's great, but I think some like white LED fans would look really primo in here. Just my opinion though. Also, absolutely in love with the Chromax Noctua cooler. I think that was a really smart choice to get the white plates on here, and again, everything matches so well. You are missing, okay, I was like, why are you missing expansion slots? It's because you need a place to route your cables from your GPU because of how it's mounted. I'm also wondering, is that like a special 45-degree angle bracket that you can buy? Because again, I just haven't seen that very often, so I think it's pretty unique. It's cool that it just fits. It looks a little bit tight, a little, I can see what you mean. It's a little cramped with your cooler here being so large. It really looks like they're kind of pressing up against each other. I'm sure they're not touching or anything, but it's a close call. Let's see if there's anything else we can spot with some of these pictures. Nice case. Case matches beautifully as well. No, okay, there's not a whole lot more detail I get from the other pictures. Oh, wait, hold on. On top of not having RGB fans, again, just a personal aesthetic preference that I think would look really good in here, you also have mismatched fans. It looks like the top fan, like some of your fans are Corsair, some of them are not. I don't know what fans those are, but they're definitely not identical. So I'm gonna ding you for that because I'm all about matching fans. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all for this build. Definitely in the running. I mean, all these builds are pretty spectacular. So nice job, Narab. Moving on though, we have gaming machine, cleverly named by Glenn. All right, Glenn. Oh wow, a very thorough build description. This is my main machine that I game on and do everything else on.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
That's fair. I use my computer for everything too. All right, we don't have any other context beyond that though. Oh, well, we do have the parts list here, which we should go over. Intel Core i7-10900X. All right, we got a nice 10 core in there, Gigabyte X299X. Ooh, Designate 10G. We're going high-end desktop this time around. Gigabyte Aorus RTX 2070 8 gig. Corsair RGB Pro 64 gigs of DDR4. So it seems like, I don't know, it seems like you do more than just gaming on here if you need 64 gigs, unless you just, I don't know, unless you just like maxing out everything. But that's a lot of RAM. We also have a Corsair Obsidian 750D Airflow, an RM power supply, and more drives, fans, and stuff like that. Okay, let's take a look at the non-lit up photo first. No LEDs, not powered on or anything. Oh, it is powered on, just no LEDs. Okay, we have a custom loop here, our first custom loop of the day, and it looks pretty sweet actually. So it's just a loop on the CPU. Graphics card is still just using its stock cooler, which is fine. In fact, that just means more cooling potential for the CPU. And that's a pretty hefty 10-core chip there, so I'm sure it doesn't mind the extra cooling. So for starters, I will say your cable management looks phenomenal. Very nice job here, and that's not super easy to do when you have an older case that doesn't have a power supply shroud to hide the bulk of your cables, all that excess. It's just kind of usually laying out there like someone's entrails. You've done a really fine job of tidying all that up right here at the bottom of the case. I will, however, knock you for the RM1000 power supply sticker because it's just not matching anything else in your system. And it's bright orange, it draws your eyes to it immediately, which is not really where you want your eyes to go in a system build, is the power supply. I would highly suggest that you remove that sticker ASAP, as well as the one on top, because that one's not a whole lot better. That being said, I really love your choice of cable sleeves, or the actual cable, the cables that you got here. I don't know if you sleeve these yourself, or maybe you use like Cable Mod or NSource or something like that, but I think your choice of, like, the aesthetic choice here matches really well with your system. I like the fact that it's sort of subdued and not over the top, but they still stand out. They stand out, I think, particularly because of the aluminum cable combs that are just kind of just popping for me. And they're also matching a lot of other accents in your system, like the CPU water block, some of the gray accents on your GPU and so forth. So really nice job on the cable choice. I approve. Some other things of note. You've got some RGB fans in here, which look like they're on the cheap side. I don't know, it's got that really like kind of cloudy plastic housing around them, and I feel like these are the types of fans that usually have, that they show hot spots a bit more, which is kind of strange to me because you have such a high-end system in here with a custom loop, no less. And you would think that maybe you'd spend a little bit more on fans. These kind of look like they were $5-10 a piece. Just saying, just nitpicking. Hey, we got $500 on the line here, so I gotta be nitpicky. We also have a I'm really digging the vertically mounted GPU here, especially because the LEDs on this particular model of graphics card from Gigabyte is so wild. Like, it's just like the most crazy looking RGB that I've seen on a GPU yet. So it's nice that you're able to show that off at all times. We also have, let's talk about the custom loop for a second, shall we? So again, it's just on the CPU. And we've got a nice kind of Corsair setup here with the reservoir, the pump res, and the water block. You went full Corsair, it looks like. Fittings, those could be EK fittings, maybe they're Corsair fittings, I'm not sure. At any rate, they look good. The whole loop looks great, and you actually went the extra mile to do rigid tubing. So that takes a lot of guts, a lot of balls. You're pretty ballsy to actually undertake this, especially if it was your first custom loop and your first time doing bends. It does take a lot of practice. You've done a really nice job here, though. I will say there is a bit of room for improvement. Okay, so on the good side, I really love your runs. I really love the direction you took for where you made the bends and how you connected everything. I think you could have easily just gone straight up and straight to the left to make just like a boring left, right angle to the CPU block, but instead you went all the way up and kind of around and then down. Kind of reminds me of like the original Hotline that I built back in the day. I didn't necessarily take the path of least resistance. I took the path that looked the most badass. And I can definitely see that you tried to do that here. And I think it's working out for you. I love the symmetry of both tubes coming straight up and then out opposite directions from the CPU block. I think that's great. Now where I get more nitpicky is with the actual execution of the tube bending itself. I feel like this could have been a little straighter. You know, it's not exactly, this long run here is not exactly parallel with the sides of the case. It's amazing how unforgiving rigid tubing is in a custom loop and how much it shows little imperfections like this. It could be off by 2-3 degrees and it's still really noticeable to the naked eye. I definitely noticed it here. I also noticed that the two tubes right here, while I do appreciate the symmetry, are not exactly straight either. There's not a whole lot of parallelism going on within these tubes, and I feel like that could just be, you know, it's obviously something that takes practice, like I said, and if it was your first time, even if this is your first time doing it, this is still massively impressive. This is way better than my first run at custom loop, at tube bending and stuff. So I got to give you points there, but because this is a contest, I'm gonna have to knock you a few points off of that. And by the way, these points are all arbitrary. They don't matter, just like whose line is it anyway. So apart from that though, very nice build. Obviously I've got my critiques here and there, but fantastic job. Really nice custom loop as well. Let's move on to Gundam White Strix RTX 3090 anime build. All right, so do we have a Weeb alert coming in? Weeb alert. Build description, I wanted to create a white dynamic build, PCO11 dynamic, that showcases my love for anime. I used the Gundam AIO and custom Cowboy Bebop GPU bracket with mainly white components. I wanted to create a futuristic anime look to it. Favorite feature, I love how the White Strix 3090 card fits in with the Gundam anime theme, making it look very aggressive. The see-through Cowboy Bebop GPU bracket accents it with a futuristic look. The new AL120 fans make it pop on the bottom. That's a lot of good stuff. I'm excited to see the larger pictures here. We have a Ryzen 9 5900X and a B550A ROG Strix Gaming from Asus. RTX 3090, ROG Strix White, that's a beast of a card, by the way. Team Group T-Force Extreme. I do not like the way they spelled Extreme there. That annoys me. Addressable RGB 3600 speed, that's 32 gigs of RAM, 2x16 gig sticks. O11D, of course. Fantex Revolt Pro power supply, ROG Strix LC3060, RGB Gundam Edition. And you do have the new Lian Li Unifans, the AL120s. Take a look at this puppy. Hey, this is actually really clean. I really am digging the Gundam AIO. I think, is it popping out? I don't think I've ever seen this up close. It's actually like the Gundam face guy, his helmet is popping out of the AIO. It's like almost got this 3D effect. That's pretty cool. And I like the design on the radiator itself as well. Very nice. And you do have a, did I see a Gundam action figure somewhere in here? Oh, no, that was just outside of your case. You had it just chilling on the outside. I thought maybe there was a picture of it on the inside. I'm really digging the new AR120s. And the color scheme here is pretty fun. You know, you've got different colors going on per fan. Yellow, teal, kind of pink, and it does match. You know, everything else is matching in the system really well. I love these custom sleeve cables. I think they look great. I feel like the training could be a bit better on the GPU. Looks like some of them are crossing over. They just look a little bit loose, and maybe your 24-pin could be straightened out a little bit too, particularly your 8-pin EPS. I think that's the one that needs the most work. But cable management, that being said, is on point. You did a really nice job there, so you should be proud of yourself in that area. This, again, is a ridiculous GPU. I have one here. It's massive. And it's great that despite how large and heavy this card is, it is not sagging at all because you have that Cowboy Bebop bracket. At first when you said bracket, I wasn't sure. You were talking about a sag bracket. I can confirm right here, it's holding up the GPU perfectly straight Looks great, nice job there. And I don't know what else I can really ding you for in this build. It's looking pretty good. Really just those cables I think need a little bit of help. I don't have many more critiques on this system. One suggestion I'll make is maybe getting like an anime themed GPU backplate with like RGB lighting or something. V1 Tech, check them out. They make custom plates. You can upload your own design and they'll work with you and stuff. I think that would definitely tie everything together and just be another thing, another anime thing you can use to really spice up the theme for this pretty awesome system. So nice job there, Mr. Drakon. Sorry, I didn't mention your name at the beginning. Drakon. Okay. Storm. All right, Storm by Matt. Matty R. Here we go. I built this PC with the intention of gaming and using it for university. I've always loved gaming and also always been absolutely fascinated by technology, so a gaming PC was something I wanted to build. Some of my current favorite games are War Thunder, Portal 2, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. Some future upgrades would have to be a new PSU. In hindsight, I would have gone Corsair for my fans in AIO, but maybe Asus for the motherboard, as the RGB control with that is much better. Although I have ordered an H150i Elite, it just won't be here in time. I've always been inspired by watching builders like Kyle, Bitwit, hey, Jay, and designs by IFR, and this PC is the best I've been able to do. All right, solid, Matt. I'm digging it. Favorite feature, I love the graphics card. It took so much effort to obtain during this shortage, especially after being scammed for my previous one and left with nothing. Ouch, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. This graphics card model has always been a dream to have, and I worked like crazy to get it. Well, good for you, Matt. I'm proud of you, buddy. Ryzen 5 5600X. All right, we've got a B550 MPG Gaming Plus motherboard from MSI, a Gigabyte NVIDIA RTX 2070 Super, that's an Aorus with a triple fan design, Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro with 16 gigs of DDR4 at 3200, PC011D of course, and Tech VP500 PC. Yeah, that looks like a pretty old unit. I'd probably get an upgraded power supply if I were you as well. MSI Mag, Core Liquid 360R, and a Samsung 870 EVO SSD. Okay, holy fans, Batman. You've got 9 fans in this system, as well as those 3 big honkin' fans on the Aorus card. Same cooler as one of the builds that we just looked at. You can see the RGB going crazy. I like the RGB colors. It's very hotline themed, very synthwave. You know, I'm a big fan of that. That style and that look. So nice job there. You know your audience. We also have, let's see, cable management looks good. I think some of these cables on the GPU could be trained a little nicer. They look a little spread out and stuff. Maybe just tighten that, or you can maybe try sliding up the cable combs a bit so that it makes them more taut right where they're visible. And it seems like, yeah, you know, your cable management is really nice. You don't have any cables going from your motherboard to this top grommet, which would be perfectly acceptable. But I think in a case with a white interior, those black wires would show up like an eyesore. Like they would just stick out like a sore thumb is the phrase I was trying to think of. But you don't have any of that right here. So it looks really clean even on the top end, where in a lot of builds like this, it'll usually look pretty messy. So nice job there. The RGB on the fans, again, we kind of have some cheaper looking fans here. I feel like you could use a fan upgrade. As I said earlier, you can see like the hot spots in a lot of these cheaper fans, like exactly where the LEDs are. They're not quite as diffused. I know it probably looks a bit worse on camera than it does in person, but you know, I feel like you could step up your fan game just a little bit if you really wanted to take this build to the next level. If I can be nitpicky once again, I do notice that some of your fans aren't facing the same way. They're all facing the same orientation, but not like rotationally. Looking at some other pictures here, all right, so you got a really close-up shot of the pump block on your MSI AIO. What are those speckled things on the LCD? I'm guessing that's an LCD. I'm not too familiar with this cooler, but that's either part of the design or dust. Might be a little dusty in here. I feel like you could use a decent cleaning in this rig, but everything else looks really, really nice. Did a really nice job here. Thank you, Mr. Matt. Moving on to Orlando's build. This is his first build. We got a first-time builder in here. We have a description here. So this is the first build I've ever done. I was aiming to do something that would be good for gaming, for light video editing, no 4K or something like that, CAD applications, and that it would be under a reasonable price. Originally, I didn't have a CPU cooler, only the included AMD Wraith Stealth, and a used 8GB RX 580. I was able to upgrade the CPU cooler recently, as well as the GPU, to an RX 6700 XT, thanks to a friend that was able to snatch one from one of the AMD drops. Very nice. You should You should definitely keep that friend. He sounds awesome. Favorite feature. My favorite thing about my PC is how clean and compact it looks. I'm not a fan of the huge towers, but also wasn't planning on spending extra money on mini ATX systems, so micro ATX was the way to go, and I'm quite satisfied with the result. Hey man, you do you. No shame in liking what you like, brah. AMD Ryzen 5 3600, we've got a B550M Steel Legend from ASRock, which is of course a micro ATX motherboard, an AMD RX 6700 XT, which looks to be reference, or at least AMD's own version. We have a G-Skill, set of G-Skill Ripjaws RAM, Thermaltake Versa H18 tempered glass micro ATX case, Thermaltake Smart BX1 650 watt power supply, a V-True V5 black cooler, I'm not too familiar with that one, some drives, and some other little accessories in there. All right, let's see here. So this is one shot of your build, and it does look really clean. I know why I picked this out as one of the top 10, because it just looks like a really nice, well put together system. Cable management's on point. You're not using any kind of custom cables, which, you know, doesn't always look the nicest, but you worked with what you had, and I appreciate that. And it still looks really nice despite not having nice cables. If you did get aftermarket cables though, they would look really good in here. We also have some RGB lighting with the included fan on that CPU cooler, which looks really nice. Would love to see some more RGB besides just that one fan. We do have some red lighting on the GPU, so just spreading it out a bit more, maybe getting some RGB fans down the line, particularly for like the top and back fan. I would just replace every fan because I'm OCD like that, but I think having some more RGB that's spread out in other areas of your case besides just the main center area here would do you some favors in the cosmetic department. Speaking of cosmetics, I would also remove the power supply sticker. Smart BX, I mean, there's nothing visually appealing about this at all. Apart from that, I see what you're saying about wanting a new case if you were to upgrade to a 5950X, because you would want to throw in like, I don't know, maybe a 280 or a 360 millimeter radiator AIO in here. And you probably could do it. It looks like you could fit a 360 at the front of this case, but I forget if this case has decent airflow or not. What does the front panel of the H18? Is the H18 Versa? Yeah, H18, Versa H18. Oh, you know what? This is like a full mesh front panel. You know, it's probably not like the greatest mesh in the world, but I do think that this would still be able to handle a 5950X if you had the radiator at the front of the case and you had, you know, some healthy air coming in. You'd want to obviously orient it as an intake, just like you do with this build, with your current build. But I definitely think it's possible, man. I think you should go for it if you really want to. Overall, it looks fairly clean. And okay, we get some shots of your system after dark. How intriguing. So this actually looks really nice. Again, this is making a case for my recommendation of having some more RGB in here, because you can see it's just all focused right at the center of the build. And I'd really like to see it just branch out more with the fans, maybe your memory if you ever want to upgrade your RAM down the line. And I believe those are all the photos. Yes, they are. All right, thank you very much, Orlando. Excellent job on your first build. All right, somehow we're already halfway through looking at all the submissions. But before we continue, I just want to say thanks to AOC for providing the monitor that I'm using for today's video. This is the AOC CU34G2X. It is a 34-inch, 21:9, 3440x1440 display with a 144 Hz refresh rate and a 1 millisecond response time. All those specs add up to a truly awesome gaming experience. I personally love gaming on ultra-wide monitors. The 21:9 aspect ratio, and particularly this monitor's 1500R curve, really does it for me. So once again, thanks to AOC for providing the monitor for today's video. Now back to the contest. Here we go. So this one's from Matthew W. Just another O11D. I really appreciate that. It's very fitting for this contest. But tiny. Okay, so maybe an O11D Mini, I would say. Oh, it is an O11D Mini. How cute. All right, gaming PC used mainly for AAA and esports gaming with some light programming sprinkled in. Favorite feature: water cooling and Snow Edition O11. Ooh, we got the Snow Edition, my man. Ryzen 9 5900X. We've got an X570 Pro Prime motherboard from Asus, EVGA RTX 3090 for the Win 3. What a card. And we also have Dominator Platinum RGB memory, 32 gigs of memory there. O11D Mini, Snow Edition, and a bunch of drives and stuff. Ooh, okay, we got a custom loop. Let's take a look at this photo first. I love it. I absolutely love it. Even though I've seen all these builds before, like they're all just so good. They're all so good. So I still have that like first initial reaction when I see them again, like that is a nice build. I know why I picked this one. So your two bends aren't really bends at all, actually. It looks like they're all straight. Are there any bends at all in this system? Okay, I take it back. You do have bends. You certainly have bends. Very clean from here, my dude. Very nice 90-degree bends. They look very, very straight from here, actually. I think you did a really good job. And the lighting, I just like love the all white lighting. It just looks so pure and clean. The cabling is really nice too. I kind of like how you have this middle GPU cable in a completely different color than the ones beside it. I think that's really unique and especially fits because you do have a lot of black in here as well. So the black and white two-tone theme is really doing it for me too. We also have excellent cable management all around. I don't really see a spare cable, like a loose cable in sight. Let's see this distro plate. What? Ooh, that's a big. What brand of distro plate is this? I kind of just want to know because this is for the O11D Mini. So I'm not too familiar with all the distro plates available for that. Okay, I think it's EK Quantum Reflection. I think that's what it must be because it says O11D Mini right there. Very nice distro plate. Good job, EK. I really love how that turned out. Man, this is a really clean system, dude. I don't really have many critiques. This is pretty much a show build. I could easily see this on the floor of like, a convention or something at Computex or whatever. I did a really nice job here and I think it came together beautifully. This is gonna be a hard one to top. Definitely. Okay, I feel bad for whoever has to follow that act. Oh, no, actually I don't, not for this guy. This build's insane. Chrome Dome by Stuff C. Parts contained in this build, oh, you actually listed them out. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that in a sec. 3 years and 4 iterations later, as seen in the last few photos, I don't plan on changing anything for a while after this. I chose this case because I liked the unique layout and I knew the water cooling obsession would eventually lead to hardline tubing. That's definitely a rabbit hole that I went down. So I wanted a cheap case that would force me to be creative with the design and whip out the Dremel for a custom fit. I also purchased some cut glass from the hardware store, painted the edge, and mounted it using magnetic strips to use as my side panel. The decision to finally go hardline was a used Gigabyte Aorus Z390 Master for $180 and EK's FLT reservoir pump combo. Everything was bought used or very discounted except for CPU, fans, and anything regarding water cooling. It was a fun challenge that I'm glad is over and thankfully stayed dry. I know the feeling, my dude. I know the feeling. 3D modeling prior was critical, and thanks to every gamer enthusiast for inspiration. Hope you guys like it and feel free to ask any questions. Primarily used for gaming, general purpose, engineering, and 3D modeling. Specs, we've got a Thermaltake Core G3, that's the case, a Core i9-9500K, RTX 2080 Ventus OC from MSI, a Gigabyte Aorus Z390 Master, Team Group Vulkan 4x8, so we've got a 32 gig kit in here at 3000 speed, SF750 power supply from Corsair, Samsung drive, a bunch of EK stuff for the custom loop. All right, let's look at this guy. Geez, this is just insane. I think this is one of the older revisions of his system. I think this is one of the newer ones, but that has a side panel on it. There we go. There we go. Okay, so when I first saw this submission, it was, just a little thumbnail. It was a little thumbnail like this. The image wasn't blown up. I didn't even recognize it to be a PC. It didn't even look like a computer to me at first. I was like, what the heck kind of photos is this person uploading? And I clicked on it, I'm like, that is actually a PC. And I've always really admired when a PC doesn't really look like a PC at first, and it's like almost kind of hard to tell. It's just a sign to me that it's a very unique build. It's very unique, it's kind of unconventional, and if you can still make it look good in the process, because unique doesn't always mean good looking, then that really impresses me. So really nice job here with these runs, just how you managed to fit all of this inside of a case that's not really designed to accommodate all the stuff that you have in here is really impressive. Everything's water blocked up, your CPU, your GPU, these metal tubes are just phenomenal. They look great with the fittings that you chose. And just sort of the kind of industrial design that they make. I'm also feeling the LCD screen that you've got here. I think that's a really nice touch and looks great where it's at, kind of angled as well, sort of at a tilt so that you can see it more easily from wherever it might be on your desk. And it looks like you have plenty of airflow in here. 3 fans at the front on that radiator. You've got 2 more at the top. You can even see there's a radiator that's mounted externally outside the case, which I think always looks pretty cool when the radiator's outside of a case, personally. You've got 2 what looks to be maybe 80mm fans at the back, just maximizing the airflow throughout this build. I'm very curious to hear what your temps might be. Actually, I think you listed that too, didn't you? Temperatures, my man. Prime 95, so this is low fan curve for silence. Prime 95 in Heaven 4.0 for 60 minutes, 72 on the CPU, 51 on the GPU. Wow, okay, Red Dead Redemption for 60 minutes, 61C on the CPU, and just 48 degrees on the GPU. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. The amount of cooling power that you're getting out of this build that's not even supposed to have any of this stuff in it is just wild. And what is this though? What is this? I just realized that this is like a homemade PSU shroud. Sorry if I missed that in the description or whatever, but it looks a little DIY. I will say that. If I'm gonna knock you for something, and I have to knock you for something, because otherwise it would just be a perfect build and I can't have that. I think that this looks a little on the DIY side. I can kind of just see that it was like cut here and stuff, and I think it's just a little too glossy for my liking. You might love it, to each their own, and that's fine if you have an opinion that's wrong, but I would much rather like to see a matte finish on that. Maybe you could do an upgrade on that later down the line, who knows. Apart from that, are there any, can you get like some RGB 80mm fans? Do they make RGB 80mm? They have to, they absolutely have to. Although at this point, I'm sure with all the hardware that you have in here and how cramped it is in this system, probably wouldn't even be worth the time, energy, and effort to swap these fans out if it's kind of hard to reach the motherboard fan headers and stuff like that. But I'm curious where you have, or if you have like a drain valve in here and where you fill the loop at. Huh. Oh wait, no. You've got this this reservoir. The reservoir probably has like the integrated pump and stuff with a drain valve and a fill port and stuff like that. Okay, mystery solved. Kind of funky how you did these cables here. I kind of like it. The braided look, the twisty of the GPU cables. I'm digging it, and I really love the red and blue color combo. It's very 911. Thank you very much, Stove. Next up we have REM 2.0. This is REM 2.0 V2 from Kelvin. It was originally built to handle the sheer power requirement of Cyberpunk 2077. However, after I finished the game, it's now the Minecraft and YouTube machine. I went for a white build, but ended up with a black build with white and silver accents. The reason why it's the second version is because I swapped out the other graphics card for a 3070 Ti Aorus instead for that LCD screen. Change the color scheme to pink and teal to suck up to Kyle. I appreciate that. All the sucking up you'll do to me will get you absolutely everywhere. Favorite feature, how the graphics card and radiator barely have any clearance and the beautiful small screen on the 3070 Ti. All right, GPU and radiator have any clearance? Okay, let's see, 9700K, all right. Z390A Prime, motherboard from Asus, a Gigabyte RTX 3070 Ti Aorus. We have Trident Z Neo at, what is it, 16 gigs, 3600, and then NZXT H510i, 850 watt power supply from PowerSpec, Samsung drives, and Kraken. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at, let's do this picture. Whoa, that is wild. That is absolutely wild. All right, damn son. Damn, that's a chunky GPU. And oh my gosh, the eye bottle popping gif right there. You are sucking up to me. Highly effective. Nice touch. I do appreciate that. That GPU is ridiculously close to that radiator. You're absolutely right about that. It is like, you couldn't fit a Post-it note in between those two things. That's absolutely crazy. I wonder if you knew that it was going to be that close before you started building. Cable management in here is fantastic. Absolutely. All the builds in this top 10 are just great with cable management. I like the cable sleeving as well. The black cable combs are a nice touch. It adds a bit of contrast. And you do have like a nice two-tone black and white theme here going on top of that synthwave color vibe. We also have some nice sleeving on your AIO tubes, which actually is fraying a little bit at the ends. This could just be from handling them over time. You know, they get worn out. Maybe it's in direct sunlight or something like that. It's just starting to wither away a bit. Apart from that, though, very nice RGB fans. Are these? Does it say what fans he's using? No. These look like the PC cooler fans, though, that the Moonlight PC cooler fans. No, actually, they're not, because those ones are not a full ring. They're kind of like broken up into 4 sections. So I take that back, but it looks very similar. Right on the money. That's the money shot right there. Dang, what a clean system. I really like this one. And actually, circling back to your radiator and GPU clearance thing for a minute here, you could have, I guess, avoided this completely, or, you know, given yourself more clearance had you moved the fans directly underneath the front panel of the case and move your radiator forward, you know, a good inch or so. That would have helped clearance a lot, but then you'd be restricting your airflow a lot more because the fan blades would be pressing up a lot closer against that front panel. It would definitely block airflow, and so I appreciate the fact that you went the other route and prioritized functionality and performance for your cooling, as opposed to just maybe things looking a little bit tighter inside of your system. Because it does look a little too close for comfort, giving me a little anxiety, but it would probably give me more anxiety knowing that you had really bad airflow in this otherwise beautiful system. So good on you for that. I think that's pretty much it. You got the dual SSDs here. I like the fact that they're matching. That's a big thing for me in my OCD. If you're gonna have multiple SSDs on your PSU shroud, they should match, just like all the fans in your system should match. This is like PC Bible that I'm writing right here, okay? So Kelvin, very nice job on REM 2.0 V2. We also have Rainbow Bonsai, another rainbow-esque build from Garrett. I built the setup to more comfortably game and work for long hours at a time. Before I was gaming on a 60 Hz TV, which had horrible input lag and was super limiting, I would imagine. Now that I have a 1440p, 1440 Hz monitor, just like our beautiful AOC panel here, I can really take advantage of that true PC gaming power. Favorite feature? Honestly, my most favorite feature that I have added recently is my Basis monitor light bar. It evenly illuminates my entire desk area and allows for comfortable usage during the late hours of the night. Plus, I think it gives my setup a nice balance between standard light and RGB light. Okay, we'll take a look at that light bar in just a sec. I'm curious. Ryzen 7 3700X. We've got a B550M Steel Legend from ASRock, EVGA RTX 3080 for the Win 3 Ultra Gaming, 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro DDR4 3200, Crystal 280X RGB tempered glass micro ATX case from Corsair, Supernova 750 GT power supply from EVGA, and drives. Okay, let's take a look at your setup picture, because this is one of the few submissions that actually submitted pictures of their setup, and wow, holy Toledo, look at that. Dude, I'm digging it. I'm digging that 3D wall panel art, or whatever you call it. I think it looks really nice with the RGB that you have going on, and that it's got multiple colors as well. The pink and green, it all just matches really nicely together. What a vibe. What a total vibe. This looks like a fun setup to game at. I could see how you could spend hours here. And there's that light bar at the top of the monitor that you were saying is your favorite part, not of your build, but of your setup in general. I'm actually curious about getting one of those now. I wonder how I would like one, because it does look cool, definitely for photos. I would probably just get one, at least for the very least, for like getting B-roll shots and stuff if I'm shooting anything on a desk, because I think it gives it a nice glow. But I'm getting way off topic here. Let's look at your PC. Oh right, cable management from here. So it's kind of a faraway shot and sort of at an angle, so it's kind of hard to see everything. But from what I can tell, very nice cable management, perfectly trained cables. Excellent job there. And you do have a Wraith cooler inside, but it looks good. It looks good. It's got the RGB. It fits the theme. I'm sure it's doing the job just fine cooling that 3700X. The RTX 3080 looks absolutely beastly in here. You've got some cheaper RGB fans inside. Again, I would like to just bump up the quality of those RGB fans because you can see those hot spots once again, but I'm sure they're pumping out good airflow. You've got two at the bottom directed right at your GPU, so that's nice. And overall, this is just a really nice rainbow puke system. I wish there were more pictures of it though, unfortunately. Overall, very nice build. Thank you very much, Mr. Garrett. And this is our final build of the day from Dat Boaz. This is their dual purpose CAD and gaming rig. Okay. All right, Dat Boaz, what do you got for us? This rig was built with the main goal of being a high-end gaming rig, as well as handling CAD, SolidWorks Fusion 360, real-time slicing of STL files for 3D printing, and any other compute-intensive tasks I throw at it. As a mechatronics hobbyist, this is crucial to keeping a project going quickly. As a PC enthusiast as well, this rig is also a hobby, starting life as an air-cooled 6700K 980 Ti 5 years ago, and evolving over time to a 5900X and RTX 3080 water-cooled beast. Hell yeah. Thank you for providing the specs here as well. Lianli O11D XL in black, 5900X MSI X570 Unify. We have 32 gigs of G-Skill at 3600, EVGA RTX 3080 XC3 Ultra, and some drives, and some cooling, and looks like a lot of EK stuff as well. Favorite feature? I have made two custom mods for this PC. The one being an extra power button facing the rear due to the left side position of the case, and the second being a custom fan controller that allows the user to switch between motherboard fan control and manual fan control on the fly with the press of a button. That's pretty cool. This allows fan override in case you need extra cooling or more quiet operation. Both mods fit into PCIe slots as seen in the pictures. All right, what are we looking at here? Ayo, what a beast. Oh yeah. I dig it, I dig it. Okay, let's take a look at, all right, so that's the custom fan controller. That's badass. That would be really badass. Being able to switch between manual and motherboard fan control on the fly might hit you up and be like, how'd you do that? Funky bends, man. I'm digging the funky bends. Again, I think you, instead of going the easy route and just making them as straight and short as possible, you were not afraid to do bends and to make it look a bit more aesthetically pleasing. You turned it into art, really, instead of just a functional loop with just how some of these bends are going. I really like how these are symmetrical as well, kind of like one of the earlier builds we looked at, and it looks pretty straight overall. You know, again, it's kind of hard to tell from the photos. This bend looks like it's drooping down a little bit. It might just be the camera angle though. You've got a really long bend going from your pump res all the way over to the radiator. That looks good. This looks good. It all looks pretty good, man. I'm wondering if this was your first time bending tubes. If so, pads on the back, you did a great job. Even if not, still a really nice job. I will say mismatched fans. Noctua's on the bottom rad. Looks like Be Quiet's on the top. Nothing wrong functionally here, but I hate it. Throw this PC in the trash. I'm just kidding, of course. Very nice cable management, beautiful custom sleeved cables with nice cable combs. I love the illumination. Is this white lighting or blue or teal? It's kind of hard to tell. At any rate, it looks good, especially with the some of the red LED accents that you have in here. Very nice, very nice. Honestly, I don't really see much else to critique here, although I will make a suggestion. Matching fans, possibly RGB fans. Or you know what you could do? This is what I would do. I would get all Noctuas. I would just match up all these Chromax, make sure they're Chromax obviously, replace these other 5 or 6 fans that you have elsewhere in the build with the Noctuas, and then get some like Halo Lux fan frames, the RGB fan frames from Fantex. Slap those bad boys on all 9 of your Noctua fans, make them teal, color match it with the rest of the RGB in your system, or red, or a combination of both, I don't care, but I think that would look really sick. And also your memory, I think your memory could be RGB as well. Don't get me wrong, the Ripjaws 5 are some of my favorite 6 for DDR4. I use them all the time still, but I think in a build like this, it should just be a little bit more lit, as the children say. So nice job though. Beautiful build. Beautiful build. That is all, those are all the builds. It's time for me to select a winner, which is gonna be really tough. Up until this point, I have not chosen a winner in my head at all. I have no idea. I actually have to look through these right now. I'm gonna revisit each one and I'll get back to you guys in just a sec. So give me like 2 minutes, which for you guys, it'll be like 2 seconds. 1, 2. FBI, open up! All right, I'm back, and after much deliberation, I have narrowed down a winner of my choosing. Remember, there's still gonna be another winner that Micro Center chooses to also win a $500 gift card, and then in 2 weeks, they're gonna pick another winner who's gonna win a $250 gift card. So this is just one of 3 winners, but this is the official first place winner in my book, according to me, okay? And again, wasn't an easy choice, but the winner for this contest with Micro Center is Chrome Dome by Stoff C. I don't really know if I need to explain myself for this choice. It's just one of the more unique systems that I've seen. I think out of all 10, there were some really good, they were all great systems, which is why it was so difficult to choose. But I think out of all of them, this one seemed the most unique to me, with just phenomenal execution. I think it's an absolute beautiful system to the point of being an art piece, really. And I just haven't really seen anything like it, especially in a case like this that's just not meant to house this much water cooling hardware. You know, I really appreciate the fact that he shared his temperatures and stuff. Not that that had any weight in my decision, but you know, it's nice to know that a build also performs as well as it looks. I love the LCD. There's just so much custom work in here. You can tell that there was a lot of love and thought put into this build, which you know, obviously I appreciate. So congratulations, Mr. Stoff. You will be getting a $500 gift card from Micro Center. You actually have a chance to get something free too. New customers can receive a free gift from Micro Center. So check the link in the video description for a coupon code for a free 240 gig SSD. This offer is only available to new customers, in-store only, no purchase necessary. That's, I think, pretty much gonna do it for this video though, guys. Thank you again to Micro Center and AOC for sponsoring. Toss a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more, I don't know, sort of fun collabs where I take a look at user-generated content, maybe we can do your setups next time. Let me know what your thoughts on this video were down below. Very curious to hear your feedback. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel for more tech content on the way, and I will see you guys in the next video.